uh, what are the benefits? First of all, if you can go detail, what more challenges it has, and also what benefit it brought for the diaspora since it has been established and recognized by the union.
Yeah. I want to go further back to centuries ago
Okay.
when we were rounded up and put, as Bob Marley sings, in the bottomless pit, right? Um, Yet still we had this redemption song. We have always wanted to come home. We have always wanted to reconnect with our kith and kin. And politics, colonial systems have been the main reason why we have been divided. And so Pan-Africanism and engaging on a political level is so very important and relevant at this time. Um, However, and I know I'm probably taking a very wide um, approach to responding, but nothing is about right now. It's about what happened before. How has it informed where we are right now and where we will be 100 years from now? We can't continue to disconnect who we are, be it through language group, be it through the region that we're born and raised in or taken to or whatever. We have to ensure that we're connecting all the dots and looking at these things as a level of consistency. And there's times where we make great leaps. There's other times where we have to crawl, but we have to keep the inertia. We keep the momentum going, right?
Yeah.
So, from my perspective, um, the recognition of the sixth region at this time through both the free trade agreement, through engagement of African Union, through engagement of all member states, and also civil society and the young people recognizing the value that we all have. And I keep going back to the morality. The morality is not based on whether I'm an engineer coming home to help rebuild bridges, or whether I'm a great teacher coming in to bring a new pedagogy that's going to help the children in Ghana learn quicker, or whether I'm a medical doctor that's coming in with cures for various viruses. That is secondary to seeing me, to recognizing me, to seeing us in each other. And this is something, dare I say, that we need both in terms of how we see those coming home from the sixth region and how we see each other in our very countries. Because right now, that is one of the greatest um, things that's being weaponized. And I'm speaking of the lack of value, the lack of morality that we have towards each other. Therefore, our life has no value, right? And so we can just start wars and be manipulated and do what we have to do to each other for crumbs or crowns, right? Positions or a little thing so you can eat and get through today. What I think the African diaspora, particularly those of us who have been through the slavery experience, the neo-colonial Jim Crow in relation to those who were raised in the United States, we can bring that spirit of resilience. We bring with us that genetic memory that never made us forget, nor yearn, nor desire to returning home to Africa, because this is our home. This is our land, first and foremost. This is where we're from, right? And there's no place like home. Now, I can live anywhere in the world. That's my right to live anywhere in the world. So we're not saying that we don't have the right to live anywhere we want. What we're talking is about how do we reconnect with who we are in order to be the best that we can be. We need to be able to come home to the continent to be able to do that, whether physically, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. The reconnection is what starts the healing, and Mother Africa needs healing. what has happened on this continent, the level of rape, the level of pillage, the level of murder and mayhem that has happened on the continent over the last several centuries has not happened anywhere else on the face of this earth to the level and the extreme that it has happened here and continues to happen here. And the way to solve this is, again, this recognition and value of who we are and what we can bring to the table. Now we know once we see each other, of course, we're looking at the strengths that we come. Because when you come home to your mother or your father after being gone for so long, you come and you bow, and what have I brought? You know, I brought these skills that I learned. I brought this education. I brought the willingness to learn. I brought the willingness to humble myself and work with the village, the community, etc., in order to help move development along by us and for us. So I think now it continues to be the time, because again, this is nothing new. What is new is maybe the numbers that are coming in. What is new is, again, the way that things are happening in each country, because each country is going to deal with this differently. For instance, in Ethiopia, which, by the way, is probably one of the longest or oldest countries that has been engaging the African diaspora, even setting up Shashamani land grant for who? Black people of the West, with again, emphasis on African Americans, to go back to your point about the relationship of those of us in the diaspora who are giving help and engaging, and how are we seen then as to compare to how we're seen now. You know, Ethiopia has granted residency, right, based on lobbying for decades to Rastafari, amongst others, permanent residency. Ghana has granted citizenship, right? So Benin has also granted citizenship unlimited. So things are beginning to move in terms of this recognition and reintegration. And if we juxtapose it to what happened during the 1930s and up to 41, when Italians occupied Ethiopia specifically, and the EWF was founded as a way to come and support, galvanize support for the country, the difference is now the power that ones and they have in the African diaspora, the ability to use media, because this is one of the biggest challenges, how we're seen in the media, what are the messages that are getting out there. So while back in the day we were gathering food and money and sending in and other forms of support, now we can get into social media campaigns, because that is moving. We have influencers that can take up the cause and say, no, the propaganda that you're hearing, that's not what's happening. Listen to these other voices. Listen to these things. Again, I got to go back to the hashtag No More campaign that has expanded from, again, Ethiopia, Horn of Africa, continent of Africa, 6th region. You know, so there are many doors that are open, but I caution us, we can't sit down and continue to say, well, what's the AU doing now? And what are you doing? How are you pushing them? Because they don't business right now. Everything else is on the table. They'll have a cup of tea with you, take a nice picture, but then what? It's up to us. We have to agitate. We were freed from slavery, not sitting down and waiting for someone to come, right? Africa was freed from colonization, not sitting and waiting and saying, please, please, please. So this is the same spirit that we have to have, and especially as queen mothers, to defend our children and do this for generations to come. We have to be fearless.
Yeah, and indeed, that's how it reached. Actually, it's milestones, the connection between the two. It's one people, okay, but being outside of Africa and here, because they didn't sit just around and they were constantly looking for how to connect, how to escape their slave master, how to go back to their ancestors. So, I think it's important, as you say, that we don't sit around and we have to look for us, what should I do? I mean, this little achievements that has been achieved, using that and putting our own effort, what can we do further? We should not wait for the African Union to do everything, not that because it's not its mandate, but because it's not functioning beyond this. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Pan-Africanism has never fallen within the grasp of any one country, any one community. Um, and so we have to know that this spirit, which is again historic, current, and futuristic, has a place and a space for all of us. And there's something for each of us to do. If one organization is doing something, you do something else. And sometimes organizations like ours, we get together with other diaspora organizations where the twain meet. It may be on media, communications, it may be on immigration. So we don't always have to be sitting at the table all the time discussing the same things, because again, we're coming from different perspectives and even aspire for different things. Organizations coming out of the United States may have and do have different mandates and aspirations than those coming out of Jamaica or Barbados. And it's good. It's good and it's necessary. So really what we need right now is to understand that unity or solidarity does not mean uniformity. It means strengthening each other to the best of our ability to move ahead. There are so many of us and we're all over the world. We cannot wait for this one leader and this one person. You are a leader. Develop your children to be leaders. We all, just like the sea, the sand on the sea, each one of us, if we were all to disappear, it doesn't happen, but you pull us together and now you have a foundation upon which an entire ocean can sit. So again, let's go back to value. How do we value one another? And one of the things I'm excited about, because we don't have enough platforms to share our stories. And Addis Ababa University Institute of Ethiopian Studies brought me on a couple years ago to curate the first Pan-African wing located in the university. Most may know Sidiskilo as the premier university of Ethiopia, by Black, for Black on the continent, established over 6 decades ago, 7 decades ago, really allows us to show Ethiopia and the role of Ethiopia in Pan-Africanism. Many times, again, we relegate it to Jamaica or Ghana or, Manchester, where the Pan-African Congress took place. But seriously speaking, Ethiopia has been pivotal and continues to. So I want to make sure that we keep in touch with you when we do our grand opening of the facility. The place is endorsed by the African Union. And so we're very, very thrilled and just happy to know that we have Connect Africa as a media partner to speak about and share about these things, and excited about the future.
Yeah, indeed. Very important, which I forgot also. One of the things that you do, as I said, she's multi-profession. But yes, we have to bring it forward and, for people and see how people can as an Ethiopian, I'm very excited that the Addis Ababa University has decided to have that wing of Pan-Africanism, like a wing for it in terms of having books and other things. And also how how the diaspora and others inside, outside can connect and how to develop it to what it's planning to achieve.
And the one thing about the Pan-African Wing, we do have a space in there that will allow for programs, lectures, workshops. It is a multimedia space, so hybrid events can be done in the space, and it's gorgeous. Again, it's where His Majesty's office was, in the Gwinnett Lowell Palace, where he would receive international guests and so forth. So his original items are also in there, and his relationship as founding father of the OAU, as one who allowed and gave so many scholarships to students from, we have, I think, 15 African countries: Rwanda, Tanganyika was, as it was called back then, Ghana, and so forth. So it really is a rich place. It also has a part in there that looks at the Rastafari movement as, again, one of the pillars of Pan-Africanism in the 20th century. So we're very excited, and thank you so much, Mahlet.
Now I'm very happy, and I will be honored to do that. And hopefully I will be there in person. But if not, we do it online. Online. Yeah.